Alright, Lantern, so I got early access to Bleach Soul Resonance, and for today's video, we're here to highlight and showcase all 17 playable characters. So our first character is going to be the basic of basics, the character you start off in the game with, an SR base Ichigo. Now, one important thing to understand when it comes to characters in this game, what you are going to notice right at the bottom, there is a sorry badge. As we continue to attack Jidambo, our test dummy for today, we are going to be building up that badge, and once it is full, you do get to get off a special effect. Let's quickly do a parry, where if we hold it down, we do a nice little swing, which actually is really cool. And you can actually get it off twice with this particular character. Now, for certain characters, as you will see later in this video, if they don't have it, it's because they have a battlefield skill, which is an additional skill for having the character in the team. So let's just continue and attack Jidambo. Again, very basic character. Someone you start off with the game with, as it is just a base Ichigo. Let's parry. Nice little parry attack. Parry once more. First skill, going into the second. Just a flurry of slashes. Quite understandable since this version of Ichigo has not learned any technique just yet, besides swinging the swords. Notable thing here is that this Ichigo and the other Ichigos have yellow auras, resembling the 1000 Blood War art style. Now, for us to beat Jidambo, we have to hit him 120 times, consistently without taking damage. And with this Ichigo, quite a slow character, likely we aren't going to do that. But we do get 1 minute and 30 seconds to test any character we want to actually use. Let's do that skill again. So again, quite a simple character. Does the job, though, of introducing the basics to you once you first start playing the game. Moving up the rank, we have another SR Ichigo. This time we are wielding Zangetsu using our Shikai. And this character is actually really cool. One of my main characters right now for majority of the story, because he has a lot going for him despite being an SR. So that's his parry attack. His basic combo, pretty decent. Now, once more, very similar to the first iteration of Ichigo, we do have a story badge where if we build that up, we do get a special effect. And that special effect lets him use his first skill again. So let's actually go ahead and use that right now. Quite simple. But once we do build up the gauge, we get to do it again. Get an additional effect, and alongside that, our normal attacks, basic combo does become range, and also just hits harder. So you actually get to do 2 different skills with that first particular skill, and then his third one, or his second skill, gonna be a nice little get-to-go, as expected from Ichigo, doing some pretty good damage. So you're able to do some really good burst damage, especially in short amount of time when the soul exhaustion is active, which is when you break the enemy's guards. So honestly, a really cool character. For an SR, might be one of the best examples of a really good and fun character that can probably carry you throughout the entire game. And you do get the spam skills, which I think is great. Really fun character, in my opinion. One of my go-to characters. And someone I'm hoping to use throughout the entire game while this beta is active and not rely really on SSR characters. Look at that. Nice and easy. Our next character is our first SSR, that being Bankai Ichigo. Now, SSR Ichigo is probably one of the more cooler characters in the entire game because of how it does look. So for starters, you're going to notice that the character does have the black and white aura. Again, going with the 1000 Blood War art style. This is his parry attack. Really cool. Now, his basic combo has 2 variations. So we do get the basic attack off here, where we can kind of teleport behind and sometimes dodge attacks. Now, if you do 3 attacks and then charge it and then attack again, you do a flurry of attacks. And I actually prefer doing this most of the time. Now, in addition to that, his first skill, which if we teleport away, once hits the enemy, you can then do that charge attack for free. So it's actually really good for closing in on the opponent, even if you are far away. Let's go ahead and parry. Now, as we did, we are going to be building up our second skill, which does take quite a while to charge up, but you'll understand why it does once we transform. Let's parry that. Slowly but surely we are building up. So now let's go ahead and use the second skill, which has us activate our visored mask, and we get to use his first skill twice. So remember, when you hit the Getter-Gun, you get to do that charge attack for free. So you get to do 4 attacks basically back to back. Now the second skill you can use whenever you want to, but it will automatically activate after 10 seconds. And lets off a very powerful nuclear Getter Potential, which does resemble the first episode of 1000 Blood War, where he used it against all the hollows. My only problem with this unit right now, since it is a closed beta, is that he doesn't have the visored mask voice, which I'm sure will change in the future. But this character is able to do a lot of damage, close up on the opponent, sometimes teleport behind them with the basic combo. And you get a lot of different combo attacks that you can do, but most importantly, just lets off an absolutely amazing nuke with that Gesuke Tensho. Taking a step back from the SSRs, now let's have a look at SR Uryu. One thing you will notice in the bottom left, we do have a battlefield skill. As of right now, 5 characters have access to these skills. There are certain requirements that you need to fulfill to have this skill activate, and it's just an additional attack when the character isn't on the field. Now for Uryu, I don't think we're going to be able to activate that skill, but we'll see how it does go. So his basic combo is actually really cool for a ranged character. Does have to get up close and personal sometimes during that final attack, which might not end in our favor. His first skill, just a bunch of Quincy arrows. Fairly simple unit. If you are an Uryu fan, you probably can get some fun with this character until we eventually get Let Still, which likely will be his first SSR. Second skill, attacks from afar. Let's flash step away. And let's actually see if we can pull off the battlefield skill. Now again, this can build up when the character isn't actually playing, so you have that opportunity to build it up. I think it is based on his number of times he hits the character. So we do get 120 hits in. We can use that additional skill. And then we get to use his battlefield skill here, so let's go ahead and do it. Nice little animation. Decent attack. Again, best part about it is that you don't need to main with Uryu. So this is the game where you're constantly going back and forth, switching between characters. And that's where these battlefield skills can come in play. Just to get additional damage off. A few more hits, and then we should take out Jidambo. There we go. Not too bad. Very simple character. Gonna be one of the few characters that you get to use the battlefield skill on, since he is given to you for free. Orihime is our next SR character to have a look at. And she plays how you would expect Orihime to actually play. I really do like her animations, especially considering the fact that Rebirth of Souls doesn't have this character included. So if you are wanting to see Orihime gameplay in a modern Bleach game, this is basically the closest thing you can get to that. Do like her animation when it comes to flash stepping or just dodging, as it is just her twirling. Her first skill is going to be a push attack. Sometimes, by the way, Uryu can actually come through and attack with us. Her second skill is going to be a heal attack. Just heal your entire team. Again, this is someone that you want to just switch in and out and heal your teammates with. Other than that, that's basically Orihime in a nutshell. Obviously, certain characters, which we can't talk about in this video, have passives and give you extra buffs and stuff like that, but we're just really here to look at the animations for the characters and just get a good feeling how they play. Since the game is currently in Chinese, I can't understand the exact details a character will offer, so we're here just to mainly look at the animations. But overall, Orihime is basic healer. That's what you're going to get with this character. Next up is the man that we can never imagine losing. So SR Chad is going to be a brawl type character. Basic combo, which does seem to kind of dodge away near that final punch and then come back in. That is parry attack. Again, once more, we do have a charge attack once that fist does build up, and it does actually charge at the enemy. Unfortunately, though, it does actually seem to lower Chad's HP, so it doesn't seem like it's the greatest charge effect. His first skill, you can combo with an additional attack. Likely you are going to want to do that. Again, there's the charge effect. And then there's the second skill. Which, to be fair, does actually look quite cool for an SR Chad. No double fist with this character. Unfortunately, we couldn't actually cancel out that animation. But I'm sure the first SSR Chad will actually have his dual-wielding fist, right? Simple character. Nothing too much to offer with Chad. I just personally don't like the fact that he loses HP as he barges into enemies with that charge effect. Probably someone you're not going to use all that much. And that's basically Chad. Nemu is our next character to have a look at, another SR character available in this game. Considering that Nemu doesn't do much in the actual series, I think she has a pretty decent animation kit. So these are basic combos. Parry here. Now, when you do parry, your first skill does change to a flurry of punches instead of being a usual kick. Which is this, for example. Now, this character does have 2 attacks at the bottom, as you can see. So we do charge this up. We do actually get to pull off the parry effect without needing to actually parry the character. So I think you're constantly switching between the punches and the kicks for that first skill. Pretty decent attacks, to be honest. And then we also do have our second skill. Nice little kick forward. I think she's more of a support character, in all honesty. More so when you want to maybe switch into parry to get that additional attack off, and then switch into someone else. We get the punch off again. Get the kickback again. And that's basically Nemu in a nutshell. SSR Yachiru is also playable in this game, surprisingly. Now, while I don't know the complete details about characters' passives and what they do offer on your team, I am aware that Yachiru was a character that was mainly designed to just completely buff up Kenpachi as a unit. And it kind of makes sense. This is Yachiru. Now, currently they changed Yachiru's kit to basically just be a buffer for any character in your team, which I think works in their favor, especially because Kenpachi right now is not playable. He was playable in the original beta, or pre-alpha test, but not playable right now for some reason. Maybe they'll add him later on, and if we do, we'll showcase him on the channel, because he's actually a really cool unit. So, for Yachiru, I actually do like her animations. That's a second skill. Again, very simple. Since this isn't a 1000-year Blood War Yachiru, it's just basic attacks. If we ever do get 1000-year Blood War Yachiru in the future, I'm sure she'll look a bit more impressive. But she kind of does the job. Again, another character you want to switch in and out on to buff your team. But at least Yachiru is playable. And apparently playable on release whenever the game does release. Next up, we have everyone's favorite sniper, Rukia Kuchiki. Like I did mention, Rukia is one of the 5 playable characters in the game to have a battlefield skill. So let's go ahead and use a basic combo. Flash the path away. First skill. Pretty cool stuff. The parry effect now is quite interesting because it does actually freeze Jidambo all the time. Now, I'm pretty sure to build the battlefield skill, you do want to actually use the skill first and foremost. And that will let you charge it up to level 3. And when you do charge up to level 3, you get an additional special animation to it. So, this character also does have 3 skills. And like I said, this battlefield skill can charge up over time while not using the character. So, she makes for a good, just additional DPS unit. Let's use the second skill. Really cool animation to it. Let's go ahead and dodge that. Almost there. And then here we go. We're going to keep attacking. Should get charged up soon, hopefully. There we go. And we get a nice little animation. Now, I'm pretty sure this gives you effects like healing, for example. So, really good to have on the field. And it's really good at Rukia, despite, again, having 3 skills here. All of them have, like, unique animations to it. Like, actual locked-in animation. Most characters have, like, a free camera effect. So, Rukia, in my opinion, does stand out as an SR. Especially with all her freeze effects. So, Rukia's an overall cool character. Next up is SSR Renji. Renji makes for a decent unit. I do like his charge effect as it is a tad bit different. So, here's the parry effect. As we continue to use this character, you are going to notice we are going to be building up the blade for Zabimaru. And what we can do is hold it, and it just does a bunch of slashes, which we can cancel at any time, and it doesn't waste the other charges. There's this first skill. So the main thing about him, I'd say, is probably the charge effects. Unfortunately, did not parry that. But his second skill doesn't look like it takes too long to charge up. Let's go in and charge effects. There we go. And again, we can kind of cancel any time, but unfortunately, I took some damage there. His second skill. Pretty cool effects. There's the parry. First skill. And then again, when the enemy is down, we can just continue to use all the charge effects there. And the final hit does do a bit more damage. So you are rewarded for getting all 5 hits off. Even though the first skill does have a long animation to it, you actually can attack instantly. And it seems like it somewhat staggers the enemy too. Now, on the top HP bar, you actually can see a kind of Zabimaru effect. Really not sure what that does do, in all honesty. But again, this is an SR Renji. I'm sure his SSR version is going to be really good whenever we do get his Bankai playable. And for our final character, one of the more funny inclusions into this game is Ururu. So, She actually surprisingly looks really cool, considering the fact that it is Ururu. Now, this character, as you deal damage to the enemy, you are going to build up a gauge at the bottom. And when this hits 10, let's parry that. We can hold down the charge button and just shoot a bunch of missiles, which looks really cool. The first skill in particular, when you do land it, will actually give you 5. So always use that first skill straight away, right after you do the charge effect. And the charge effect itself does actually send you away, gives you good distance to let off that attack and hopefully not take any damage yourself. So this character is all about building up that charge effect to let off a flurry of missiles. Speaking of that, likewise, her second skill does the same thing, just dealing more damage. So she's a melee character. Not also surprising, there's a lot of range to her. Let's flash up out the way. Getting good distance. Go forward, parry. Only had one charge there, so you probably don't want to do it there. Let's parry this. That's a parry effect. And it's a basic combo, which I don't think I showcased much. Kind of hard to see because Uryu is so tiny compared to Jumbo. But I think she's a really cool character. Especially because you never expect her to be playable in a game like this, especially on launch too. But yeah, overall, Uryu I think is pretty cool for the type of character she actually is. Now that's it for the main SSRs. Now let's have a look at the SSR characters. Next up is Ikkaku. So Ikkaku is a character you kind of want to always pair with if possible, because you'll see he has a Hizokimaru gauge at the bottom that instantly fills up once you do get a parry off. And it lets you apply Bleach instantly, which is a stats element on this game. This is basic combo. His first skill lunges at the opponent, does like an AoE effect. Another charge effect in. So you want to make sure you're always using that charge effect if possible. And this is going to help you build up the second skill, which has you activate his Bankai, which I'm not going to use yet. I want to kind of lower the enemy's guards. Now's a good time to do it. His second skill has him activate his Bankai while also doing damage, and it actually lets you use the first skill twice, which builds up the Hizokimaru gauge once more. And when that's full, you do another charge effect, like now for example, and then follow up with an additional attack. And once more, since we are transformed, once the 10 seconds wear off, we do another really cool attack, which is able to do a lot of damage. So Ikkaku overall is a character that can hit a lot of times, especially in that 10-second period when you do activate your Bankai. And you want to make sure you're always getting that charge effect off, because it does do a lot of bleed damage. Speaking of bleed damage, next up is Kaname. Now, Kaname is another character with a battlefield skill, but I'm pretty sure you have to use the character off the field to actually charge it up. So we'll showcase that in just a sec. His first skill kind of has him teleport away, but then lunge at the enemy. Now, this character is all about stacking bleed. Ikkaku is similar, but Kaname just does it a lot more just by basic attacks and all the skills that he does have. Now, you can't use that skill far away. You don't want to be somewhat close, but you do get some distance there to actually use that first skill. So again, we're just applying bleed every end of attack. And they just stack up over time. Right now we have 5 stacks on. Let's flash them out the way. Keep the attacks going. And this is about to let us activate our Bankai, which we can go ahead and use. Does some damage, more bleed damage too. A lot more stacks in this case. And look at that, 18 stacks of bleed. His first skill does change. And we actually get to use his battlefield skill. So let's go ahead and use that. Just more bleed effects, essentially. So his kit works well together, especially when you do activate your Bankai. It just makes him a lot better as the character. Doesn't change how much he plays, just makes him stack more damage. But for a Kaname character, I think he looks really flashy. I'm excited to see how the next version of Kaname is going to look, especially the Wakamunda one. SSR Byakuya is up next, and this character actually changed quite a lot when compared to I first played him. So let's use our basic combo. I do like his basic combo, teleporting behind the enemy. Parry effect is him using Sokatsui. His first skill Actually does have a long animation to it, and it's kind of designed for you to switch out of him into another character and continue attacking. So that's why it does have a long cooldown. Byakuya really is just a switch character, not someone you're supposed to mainly use all the time at the very least. So I'll showcase that first skill again, switching into another character here. Let's use the first skill, and we can switch into Byakuya and attack at the same time, essentially. His battlefield skill lets you use it multiple times when you are damaging the enemy. So I think we do need to switch out with Byakuya to get off his battlefield skill, which we can actually use multiple times. There's a lot of charges for it. But right now, I'm actually not sure how we actually get off that attack. I think we need to use another skill with another character. So again, just goes to show Byakuya is someone that you always want to use as a side character. Whenever you're doing any special attacks is when you actually can get off his additional Senbon Sakura battlefield skill. So just deals additional damage. Really good support character. Support additional DPS while not actually being on the fields. But let's continue using to showcase the Bankai because it does actually make him a lot cooler. Alright, so we've almost gone ahead and charged up the Bankai effects. So here we go. Some decent damage does change the field, and we get to use this skill 3 different times. Pretty cool effect. But once more, we do get a charge effect in the bottom. That's new. And it just lets us do a massive, very long animation to it as well, dealing really good damage. And then the Bankai ending has some really cool effects to it. So this character's changed quite a bit compared to when I first played him. But I kind of like it. He's definitely a support DPS. And I feel like a must-have for a lot of teams. Just making your main character deal more damage. So a combo like this, Byakuya and Ichigo, I think is going to work very well together. SSR Kisuke is going to be our next character to have a look at. Now, Kisuke, in my opinion, is going to be more of a support character. A bit different to how Byakuya is a support character. So let's do our parry effects. Now, once more, we have fans at the bottom that, as we use this character, we're going to be building up. And then let us do a charge effect. The charge effect in of itself, let's just flash it out the way, parry that. It sends us back and does a really good slash that I believe also debuffs the enemy. His first skill, however, you can't really see it, but it is like a vortex attack that groups everyone together, and it's supposed to distract the enemy with the portable Gigai. But it also charges up the charge effects, which let us use it twice in a row. So again, right now we have 0. We use the first skill, moves away, and we get to do 2 really good range effects. His second skill is Senju Koten Taiho. I believe once more also does debuff the enemy. So you kind of want to use this first skill, step away, do the 2 charge effects, and then switch into another character and do more damage. This first skill I think got improved upon when I first played him over a year ago, because now it seems to last a lot longer. And actually also has the effects of giving you those 2 double charges. It's also nice that his second skill does charge up quite a bit, so if you did want to use him as your main DPS, I mean, it's definitely something you can do. Can we get a full charge in it and the normal attack? I don't think I've done that just yet. So he does slam down at the enemy. And it does have some pretty good range to it. But you can actually just spam all you want. And then finish up with Senju Koten Taiho. Now, Sajin is one of the newest additions into the game, someone that was not available when I first played the game over a year ago during the pre-alpha. And Sajin's going to play a lot different when compared to other characters, because I think he's more of a defensive unit. Because this first skill doesn't deal that much damage, but it does give you a defensive buff. So it's exactly how you would expect Sajin to play, just be an absolute tank of a unit. But he has a really cool basic combo that does send Tengen down from the sky, which I think is really cool. And it's something similar to how Brave Souls does it. So we're going to use his first skill. Now, once more, he does have a battlefield skill that you want to charge up to 10 flames. Because when you activate his second skill, of course, it does have him activate his Bankai. It looks so cool. Our first skill does change as expected. And when you do get the 10 flames on the left, you can use the skill. And that's off a really cool slash that is capable of doing some really good damage for what seems to be a defensive unit, in my opinion. I really do like Sajin. I feel like he's very different when compared to other characters in this game. And whenever content does get super hard and you need that defensive buff, Sajin might be a very key, important character to have in your team. And does the defensive buff actually stack for other characters? It does appear so. So you actually can just use that first skill, switch out, and make your character even more tankier, which I think is really good. But let's get a second look at that Bankai effect, because I think it looks really cool. I really do like the animations for it. And I'm actually kind of curious how long you actually stay in this effect. We can't seem to parry in this effect, but I do like the finisher. You very much do feel like Sajin when playing with this character. And that's essentially Sajin in a nutshell. And our final character to have a look at is SSR Yoruichi. I saved her for last because in my opinion she's one of the coolest characters in the entire game, and it very much feels like she's the most recent character they created because of how flashy she actually is. So first up, let's have a look at Yoruichi's parry effects. Really cool animation to it, super flashy, and that's probably the best way to describe this character. Because look at all this. This is actually really good. Once more now parry. Her first skill can interrupt the enemy and just launches herself at them. Her charge effects does have her do this, which looks really cool. And then her second skill, as expected, has her activate Shunko. Her appearance does change. Let's parry this. There we go. And I think she just becomes a significantly better character in terms of damage. And you can basically just spam that Shunko effect, because it comes back really fast. Like, before the attack can even recharge, we can already use it once it is ready to go. And after that, it just deals more damage. Wasn't able to quite parry that. But I think in terms of core factor and flashiness, Yoruichi is probably the best it's going to get, at least for now, until the game officially releases. So I just really want to get this character. And then let's finish up with the Shunko. And that's essentially all playable characters in the current build for Bleach Soul Resonance. Like I mentioned, new characters will be added. Kenpachi and Tosho, I believe, are going to get added during this beta test. So make sure you guys are subscribed, because we are going to showcase them on the channel. When compared to the pre-alpha, Byakuya has now seen a lot of different changes. Someone like Ichigo is another example where he kind of plays the same, but his animations have gotten better. Meanwhile, other characters like Yachiru almost play the same, but the passives they do give has changed, because she's no longer a Kenpachi supporter and now supports the entire team. Let me know what character you thought looked the best, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.